Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Buying Queensland. I'm Jake Edwards, as part of Edwards and Mills, and I'm joined today by this lovely duo, both Eddie and Perry from Renovating Mates. How you guys going?
Good, mate.
Good, thanks for having us on.
No worries at all. Now, we'll get to the story around Renovating Mates quite shortly, but tell us a little bit about this beautiful, amazing property that we're sitting in here right now.
Do you want to start?
Okay,
Go for it.
this was probably the biggest challenge we've ever built. We, at the time, were looking pretty hard to find something, and we just sold another property, and then the market was just, there was just nothing available. And then this popped up. Race here, cut a contract in like 7 minutes, and then we're in.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
right.
literally on like 7 minutes.
Yeah, and how long ago was that? Did you buy this one?
About 15 months ago.
Yeah, so it was about March 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was no, it was before
2021.
21, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, after. Who knows?
It was like 15 months ago.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
15 months ago.
So, Renovating Mates is obviously what the name says, mates, but you guys are a bit more than mates.
Yeah,
I'd
my
like to think so.
husband. So we've been married for 3 years, and then we've been seeing each other for almost 10.
Yeah, I think 11, but yeah, she's not counting a few years.
So, where did all this passion behind the renovating stuff start for you both?
It really started with you, hey?
Yeah, so I'm a builder by trade, carpenter, did a carpenter apprenticeship as a kid.
Yep.
And it's all I've ever wanted to do. I've always wanted to get into property and building, and pretty much spent my whole life getting here. And this is probably the best one we've done. We've done a lot over the years, but yeah, I've always been passionate for it.
Yep.
And yeah, doing our own products, it's something a bit different. You got a lot more, creative freedom.
Yeah.
With help from my wife.
Yeah.
Threw that in
I
there,
would say
mate.
my passion for it came after seeing him do a few renovations. Like, I've always loved having like a really nice home and a nice space. And after he doing a few renovations without much of my input, I said, I kind of want to have a say. So that's kind of how I found a love for it.
Yeah, because you weren't that keen on it at the start, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why is that? Just a lot going on,
Well,
too much busyness?
I kind of seen it as work.
We'll probably just clarify that squeaking at the moment. We've got two puppies running around us.
You can swap their toys if you like.
That's all right. It's all good. Keep going.
I just seen it as his work. Like, it was, I just said that was his work, and I did my own thing. But then we started having a really nice, beautiful house, and I was like, I kind of want my say, and I always chose the furniture and stuff like that. But then I thought, I could have more input here.
Yeah, which clearly you've done a great job here on this property.
Yeah.
No doubt, mate, you had an influence in terms of the structure, but I can no doubt say that Perry's had an influence on the style and the design. Is that kind of the concept you guys have been working off each other the last couple of projects?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I usually stick with all of the interiors, and we together, like all the fixtures and fittings, we usually do all of that together.
Yeah.
And Eddie does pretty much all of the external.
Yep.
He often runs things by me, but I just go with kind of whatever he thinks will look best externally, because I feel like that's his kind of zone of genius. And then, when it comes to all the like interior styling and stuff like that, I do that stuff.
Yeah, we've nailed it.
We do these products pretty fast paced too. Like, there's a lot of times we got to make fast paced decisions, and Perry often gets the shits at me that I've made a decision without consulting the ministers of finance.
Is that called married life?
Yeah. So I'll be like, fuck, we got to get this done now, and I'll like make fast decisions, and a lot of it comes down at the moment to like material shortages. So if I can't get something, I'll use something different, or if what's available and what's decent price to buy, we'll buy it. But it's just a job like this in particular, it's not like a new build. It doesn't just go how you want it. Everything just one problem after another.
Yeah.
To get it like this was a big job.
Yeah, we'll come back to, I guess, the challenges that was involved in this property specifically. But before we do, you're both Victorians.
Yeah.
We were talking about it before.
Yeah.
Now, you're Geelong, is that right,
Geelong,
Eddie?
yeah,
and you're East Gippsland?
Yeah.
So why Queensland? Well, what made you guys come up and buy your first property here, Eddie, was 10 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
On the coast?
We're just trying to keep ourselves both out of trouble, honestly.
Yeah, we're both pretty
We
naughty.
were 18.
Away from the Melbourne scene?
We both had family up here, so it made for an easy place to get away to, and we both fell in love with the Gold Coast.
Yep.
Yeah, I came up here for just a month away just to find myself, and I'd never come back.
10 years later,
I
he's
think
still
I went
here.
back and packed up my stuff, and off I went, and I'll never ever move back.
Yeah. And where was that first property? Where'd you buy that?
Was on T. Peters in Broadbeach, a little unit.
Okay. Yeah.
Did a big difference in the renos from then to now, that's for sure.
So was that your first reno? You bought that unit?
First one.
Did a little reno to it?
Well, actually, before that, we did one in a mobile home park with my uncle.
Okay.
Did like a little shitter in a mobile home park.
Back in Victoria?
No, up here.
Up here. Okay.
And
yeah.
It was that was my first one.
Yeah.
I did it with him, and that was a very different experience. But did that one, and then we did the first unit in T. Peters in Broadbeach.
And that was the first one you got to live in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the plan off the back of that? Would you fall in love with the renovation side of it? Then you just think, I'm going to do this again. And then it just kept going and going?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of, just become a passion and just driven to just keep doing it as much as we can. And then, I guess obviously the more you do, the more the bigger ones you can afford, and you can do bigger projects. And we're here now, but this is the kind of the size we like to do. This is, yeah.
So that next one you did, so you got the first one, you renovate it, you sell it, you probably make some money on it, and then you start looking for the next one. Can you remember that period in time and what that decision making was like, and where was that property?
So the first one, we did the T. Peters one first, and then in between there, I did some other ones in Surface in Peninsula Drive, which is not the nicest area, but at the time it was what I could afford, and it was what was affordable to me.
Yep.
So I did like some 1-bedroom units, and there were some experiences. Like got broken into and robbed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Some ice addicts were trying to break into my cars, and
we're talking 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So Surface was pretty, known for having a bit of a rough area.
Yeah. So we just started just like some little 1-bedroom ones, and we did a 2-bedroom one, and in between they were just to sell. So we did just for the money. And
thankfully, we didn't live on that street.
Yeah, thankfully.
And at the time, the market was coming out of the GFC, obviously, but there was some good buys, not a massive profit margin at that time.
Yep.
But it was a start for me.
Yeah.
It was a start for Perry, and we that's how we started.
It's just about funding the next project.
Pretty much, yeah. Like back then, you'd do like 4 or 5 just to make the same you'd make now. It was a different time back then.
Yeah. And what were you doing, Perry, at that time?
I was working in a cafe. I was a waitress in a cafe like across the road from our house. So it was convenient. And
Nice and close.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep your eye on him.
Yeah. bringing the lunches and looking after us all. Yeah. It was the best.
Was there a property that sticks out besides this one? I'm assuming that this is the current one that we've just sold and which we bought, which we'll talk a bit later on about. Is there another one that stands out besides this one? There's kind of that kind of moment you're going, this is what we want to do forever.
I feel like it's honestly been a progression. Like this is our 16th reno.
16th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So every single one has just gotten like a little bit better.
Yeah.
And we get every time we're like, oh, this is definitely the best one.
Yeah.
We just get a little bit closer to finding like the style that we love and the bits and pieces that we love having in our house. So this one was definitely a huge turning point, like finding our style and the property. It just turned out like way better than we could have ever imagined. But I think we've known for at least like the last 4 years that this was our plan.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was the first big house we did. That was kind of the real turning point where Perry really come on board, and then that was Pensacola, and then after that, it's been madness.
Yeah, just working together after that. Yeah.
It's probably that first big one is probably the scary one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you go from that maybe 2-bedroom, next thing you know, you're buying a 4 or 5-bedroom, and it becomes quite more time consuming, it becomes more serious, and the finances probably get stretched at times as well.
Big time.
I think that's probably what held me back in the beginning a little bit was maybe the fear of taking that risk. But then after seeing, him win a few times going, okay, this is definitely worth the risk.
Yeah.
But you do lose.
You do.
You do lose
a
lot.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the things people see these renovations done at the end game, don't they? They see the result. They don't know what's involved in them. This is the 16th property you've done. Yeah. This doesn't just happen overnight. This is 10 years of renovating experience put into this beautiful home you see today.
Yeah.
Well, what advice would you give to people who are looking to start off in renovating?
Just start.
Just start?
Yeah. Just start. That's it. It's the biggest thing. I watch so many people talk about it and put it off. And every year it's more years of your life, and it's hard. But I think once you start, and you realise that what you're borrowing against what you would be paying rent, it's essentially the same. It's a bit of a hard jump to get that kind of nest egg together to do your first purchase.
Yep.
But once you're in, you're in. You know what I mean? You'll always have a property then. And I think that is probably the biggest thing. Just get off your ass and do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it might mean, you know, your first one you buy is not going to be your dream, but that's your stepping stone, you know. Just get in the market however you can with whatever you can.
That's a good one, yeah. But it doesn't have to be on the beach on Hedges Avenue. It can be in Coomera, it can be in Narang, it can be in Logan, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Real estate's real estate.
Yeah, no doubt. Is there anything in the, I don't know, any property you guys have done where you've kind of maybe sat down together and just gone, we're done? Well, we absolutely can't do this anymore. You've hit a wall perhaps, and you've just like, I'm over this. So this is too much. Like, is there a moment you guys can remember? I'm putting you on the spot here. But
we've never said like we're done. But
you have.
the weeks leading up to this property getting finished, we had a timeline of getting him before Christmas, just because we volunteered to have Christmas at our house, and we had like 30 family coming. So we had the timeline of Christmas, and it was just the stress. I had like 4 migraines in a month, just the stress of having so many trades. The day we had our moving trucks here, there was still tradesmen on site. The guy's like, where do you want me to put everything? I'm like, put it in the shed. And I definitely didn't think I'm done, but I was like, please don't make us sell for like 6 months. Like, this is hectic.
I remember going upstairs when we moved and Perry was asleep in the wardrobe. Crying with a heat pack on with the migraine. And everyone's like, she's been there for 4 hours. Like, she'll be fine.
Yeah. Stress does crazy things to your body. But no, once that wore off and we had our Christmas break, it was fine.
Relax a bit more.
And then we just knew it was definitely time to put on the market. Like, that was definitely encouraged by Eddie. Like, I could have stayed for a little while longer, but we just knew it was the right time, and like there was just a lot of good opportunities at the moment. So
yeah. Definitely. Now, we spoke about this probably at the very beginning, but now let's kind of go back to this one we're sitting in now. Why here? Had you guys been doing a bit of research in the area? Did it just pop up on the radar randomly, or had you been looking for a while?
We had, it was funny, a mate of mine did a house flip in Volante, and this house is exactly the same house that he did.
Okay. Which was the original house.
The original house, yeah. So original house is identical. And he texted me the link, and we'd been looking for a month or two, and I was like, what the hell? Like, and I'm talking like to the millimetre, like the same.
Really?
And I'd seen what he did to it. We've done something completely different, but I guess the opportunity arose, and I kind of can't remember what you asked me.
Yeah, that's all right. Just that happens when you ask that question.
At the time, like, we had been looking for a while.
Yep.
About the street.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this hadn't even been officially on the market yet, had it?
Well, yeah, they'd just come on.
Yeah, it was like a few minutes, and he seen the link and rang the agent, and then she brought over a contract. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. So within like 2 days.
Yeah.
Done.
It was done like in.
Yeah. We had a 30-day settlement.
Okay.
The bank was like, we can't do it this fast. So
yeah.
Made it happen.
I think I might know the agent. Was it Serena?
Serena Williams.
Yeah, Serena.
She's really lovely.
Yeah, she's amazing. We've done some work with her at PRD early.
I think this was her first deal.
Was it her first deal?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Small world. Yeah, I know, because she's seen that we'd purchased it for our client, and then she messaged me saying, "Oh, we sold it to them, blah blah blah." So
she was amazing.
Yeah, she's great.
Because I got her to I didn't tell Perry.
Yeah.
And I got her to take because I put it in Perry's name. We put it in Perry's name, and then I got her to just go and knock on the door and not say anything.
How'd that go?
So I thought, like, he said there's a surprise coming in. I was thinking I was getting flowers, and then they brought up a contract for a house.
Yeah. Surprise.
I was like, what are you doing?
There was no consulting. We had to move fast on this one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You weren't disappointed, were?
But I think, like, for us, we could see, like, it definitely wasn't just about the house, but, like, we could see there's a huge backyard, like, so much potential for pool space. There was so much room to extend. Like, this house is extended in 4 different directions, and there was so much space around the whole property of the existing house to extend.
Yep.
So that was probably, like, what we've seen the potential being.
Yeah. Had you guys looked in the street at all?
I'd never been in the street.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Never not existed.
But even just driving up this street, and you've probably experienced when you've driven up it, like, it's quite impressive street.
Yeah.
Like, it's quite nice. There's lots of big properties on the street. So as soon as we did, get the address, and we came here, drove up the street. We're like, oh, this has got a nice feel to it.
Yep.
It's got nice street appeal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I just rang the agent that I use and said, what do you think of this street? And then everyone I spoke to was like, this is the most amazing street. And then as soon as we live here, like when we built, we had not one issue with anyone. And actually living here, it's the best. Like straight to Burleigh, straight to Broadbeach. And
close
on the highway, if you need to be on the highway, Southport, it's Harris Farmers
Straight
Markets
down
for
the
pears.
beach, straight to Ali Capri, wherever you need to go.
So tell us about the process in renovating this home. For people, we'll show some photos. We'll bring them up around what it was like when you guys bought it compared to what it is now. They're just two different homes.
Yeah.
And it looks like you've stripped it right back to its bones and started from scratch.
Yeah.
And you said there was a quick process, and you've only had the property for 14, 15 months.
Mm-hmm.
Take us back to the start and what that looks like when it comes to renovating such a big project.
Well, I think firstly, like with any of our projects, we always know what we want, like what are our most important things for us as living here, but also when we go to sell. So we know that we want 4 bedrooms. We know that we want 2 living rooms. We know we want an open plan living, like kitchen space, flowing onto the outdoor area, as much grass as possible, like garage. Like we know that we need to tick all those boxes.
Yep.
And so then when we moved here, it was just the kitchen was upstairs. Pretty much the whole living space was upstairs. So for us, it was just straight away working with an architect to design plans to move the whole living space downstairs to create this like open plan living that we have now, and then put all of the bedrooms upstairs. So it's just going back and forth with plans to create this. And then there's probably a lot of other things that we had to do behind the scenes that I don't really know about.
Just a few,
Just a few. Well, what about permits and things like that? Cancel, you would have to deal with that, I'm sure, Ed.
Yeah, so it's because I do it every day for my business. It's not so hard. It's if you don't do it, it can be quite daunting. But having the right certifier engineer is really important. We didn't push the boundaries here really at all. Everything what we've done is kind of to normal kind of self-assessable spec. I think there was a relaxation. Can't remember on the carport maybe. But it's all pretty straightforward. If you've got a great certifier, it's actually quite easy. But getting them all together to work together is quite hard. You really want to use a builder who you want them to kind of tell you who the best team is to work together, because they all kind of talk with each other. And if council has a response, you know exactly what to say. And it's definitely not hard, but you'd want to talk to someone who's done it before. Yeah.
Well, what's that time frame like? So the moment you kind of get the architect in, get the plans done, and then get back from council, what's that?
We engage the architect the second we buy it. So I'll put in the contract that we want access early for measuring, and I'll get it moving before we even settle.
Yep.
So that's probably a good tip, because it can take up to 3 months, especially if you're really picky too and you want to make multiple changes. Even I've got people that take up to 6, but it's not in the time. It's the actual getting it approved is not hard. It's all the paperwork you have to go with the approval.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So you have to have your engineering sorted. You have to have a site survey, energy efficiency report. Sometimes you need to do a flood level requirement report. I won't bore you with that, but there's a lot to get it all together.
Yeah,
if you don't have the consultants that you regularly work with, you kind of
drags out.
Someone new all the time.
Yeah. So it's a good tip you do make. It's about preparing it, isn't it? And then when you do get the property successfully under contract, getting moving straight away. During that settlement period, you can get a lot of those things done.
It's essentially free time. As soon as you settle, it's costing you money.
Yeah. And then you come in, you start ripping the house down.
Pretty much.
Yeah. What's that like?
It was a long demo, hey?
Yeah, it was big. Yeah. This joint was...
At one point, we're like, should we have just knocked it down? Like, there was like nothing left.
We should.
But yeah, it was a big demo. Took a few months to do all that, didn't it?
Not a demo.
Oh, felt like it.
It felt like
forever.
Was there anything in the early stages that you guys hit a bit of a hurdle or anything like that popped up that you weren't aware of?
The frame was really, really bad, which I knew it was going to be. Yep. And then the other thing was because we pushed out. This is the biggest hurdle of the whole job. Was the existing floor system, which is like your actual subframe, like your bearers and joists. Yep. It was quite small, so we had to, because we pushed left, right, front, and back out of the house. We had to support the upper level, and I wanted all concealed ceiling, so it's the whole ceiling's dead flat. There's not a beam out of place. Yep. Getting that to work in a really confined space was
tight.
It was nearly impossible. Like it was was a joke how hard it was.
Yep.
But I was like consistent from the start that I wouldn't have a beam sticking out of the ceiling.
Yep.
I feel like, in my opinion, that's probably the most important thing on a property like this. It just looks, it's meant to look brand new, and it's meant to have no sacrifices. Yeah. And that was by far the hardest challenge, because we've got to conceal pipes, aircon,
everything in that
floor
space.
System,
Yeah.
all electrical, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I could imagine. What about you, Perry? What's the one thing that sticks out in your mind that was a hurdle?
That's a good. I wouldn't say for me. Probably that was more towards the end, when we were kind of making decisions about design and stuff like that. Because he does all of that earlier stuff, and that kind of it's not really my place. So just like making decisions and, like landscaping. We went back to the nursery like literally 20 times because we didn't order enough plants. And just like that garden down the side got pulled out twice because we weren't happy with it.
Yeah, really.
Just little things like that, and just making sure everything was perfect. Like, I wouldn't say they were huge challenges, but just figuring out ways to get our ideas to come to life. We've got our floating seating area over by the pool. Personally, not a challenge for me, but the guys who had to build it, big challenge for them. Figuring out how to get it to suspend above the pool. They were just like, this is hectic. So just little things like that, and just navigating so many trades on site, and getting them all to communicate and everything like that. Lucky, that's Eddie's job. It's like what he does. So he was able to help with that, but I was just kind of the stress mess in the background, wasn't I?
Yeah, a little bit.
So just on the design elements of it, what, in your opinion, Perry, makes a family home from a design point of view? Functionality?
Yep. Yeah, I think it comes from the layout. Like for this house, for example, like we always love to have the 2 living spaces, because as a family home, you can have
escape.
Yeah, escape. You can have kids down there. And our big thing is that they have to be further enough away from each other that you can shut the doors and actually be watching TV at the same time without interference.
And be able to see them. Kind of
know where they are.
Having all of the bedrooms, like all of our bedrooms are upstairs away from the living space as well. So they're really private, which is awesome. As well as that, just like the functionality. So there's lots of space to move around. There's lots of space for different types of furniture. There's lots of access to the backyard. We've got 3 huge sliding doors just downstairs, where you can access the backyard. So if people have got kids, animals, they can run around. There's lots of air. There's lots of space. So yeah, I think those things are important.
Well, what was your inspiration for this kitchen? I mean, it's beautiful. One of the first things you walk in the property. We'll come to that feature wall in a minute, because I know that my clients who bought the property, she was absolutely taken away by one, the feature, but also the olive tree that was there.
They got put in the contract.
It sure did. But this kitchen, it was inspired by something you'd seen, or was it something you come up with yourself? Or
I would say it was years of renovating kitchens, and making our decisions from there of things that we did and didn't like. We decided to go with, invest the money into having this beautiful granite benchtop, because we just felt like it was going to make the space.
It certainly does.
The elevated spa area.
Yep.
Just because we love having friends and family over for dinner and stuff, but we never ever sit at our kitchen table. We always sit around the island bench.
Yep.
So having this is you can just do that, and that's what it's used for. Just having, access. We've got our breakfast bar up the end there. Yep. Got our pantry. Everything's accessible. Heaps of storage. So I would say there wasn't we just wanted white, beautiful, functional, and we just got that inspiration, I guess, from renovating over time and going this is our must-haves in kitchens.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's always something when you move in that's not quite right. There's always oh fuck, I should have done that, or I should have done this, or whatever it was.
We don't have that with this kitchen though. We don't. There's nothing that we would change about this kitchen.
I brought my partner through here, and she was into me. Why aren't we buying it? That's how much she loved this place. So we're fortunate enough that the clients who bought it are good friends of mine. So we'll be here for the housewarming. But this kitchen is just ideal. It's probably one of the best kitchens that I've seen in my time in buying property here in Queensland. So
Thank you.
yeah, no, well done on that. I think this little bar area here, it's just a great functionality concept that's going to work really well.
Yeah.
You'll find many properties will take a lot of inspiration from that, I feel.
Awesome.
We're glad to hear that because we always had a butler's pantry every property we've ever done.
Yep.
And because there's so much effort in this room, getting it so open and big, to put a butler's pantry, it was going to be like this little jut out. We tried and tried and tried of every way possible. Like it wasn't meant to be this big.
No.
And then Perry came up with we did like that pocket door system and the double pantry just to eliminate that so you didn't have to have anything on the bench.
But in saying that, like we weren't concerned about not having a butler's pantry, but we were concerned that potential buyers in the future might be.
Yeah.
We don't mind not having it as long as there's heaps of storage in the kitchen. And so I can't fill all of those.
You need to buy more stuff.
there's literally so much.
Honestly, the properties I've seen butler pantry, it takes up some critical space in what could be opened up to what you guys have done here, and opens it right up to the backyard. And butler's pantry, I mean, do we use them that often? Really? Do you know what I mean? Like
we found we never use them.
Exactly.
They're just the hide stuff that you don't want to see. But like all our appliances, like we've got the built-in microwave, and we've got all white. Like they're all beautiful. They all go with the kitchen. So I feel like there's nothing that you need to hide.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Ed? Was there anything, mate, that you said we got to have this in this property? One of the male client who bought the property with his partner, he loved the garage.
Same.
The space, the same. Yeah, I could have picked that one.
Yeah, that was pretty much.
Yeah.
We always run on at least 4-bed, 3-bath, powder, and 2 living.
Yep. And
then I always try and get at least double carport, double garage. But for me, it was the triple garage.
Yep.
Cars and shit. But I
you got a few in there, I've seen.
I love them. But this particular home, I always set them up so they can be converted. So we always set them up so if not everyone's got a car fetish. Feel sorry for those people that don't.
Yeah.
But I always try and set them up so if someone wants to convert it into another games room, multi-purpose room, we always kind of give them the opportunity and explain how we can do it.
Yep.
This particular one's set up the same. So, it's a lot of space if you don't need it. Yeah. But for obviously your lovely clients, I think he's going to have a gym, man cave.
Yeah, I think he's already talking about his man cave.
He's
always going to have it. Was he? That doesn't surprise me at all, mate.
But for me personally, that's what I want. But we always try and think, even though we do always put some personal touches on our homes, always make sure that whatever we do add can be changed for the next person.
Yeah. And that's another terrific tip to give people looking at renovating, because you are renovating it for the next person coming in, aren't you?
Yeah.
Keeping that in mind is something people might be short-sighted on.
Very.
Which is another great point. We'll move to this pool at the back here, this amazing circle pool. It's probably, in the short time we've had it on our marketing and things like that, it's been the highlight of the property because of its circle. Who brought that to the table?
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought you were going to take that away from me.
Well, go on, tell us about it.
Well, we just wanted to. We got a pool company as well, so do lots of pools.
Yep.
And I'm just sick of seeing 6x4 rectangles. They're horrible.
Yeah.
So I always try to say to my clients, because I love my curves, and I always try to introduce little curves and just something different. Yep. So we started doing that with our normal stuff, and then I was like, let's do a circle. I had seen one before, but I'd never seen one in real life.
Mm.
I was like, it had like a slightly funny shape, this block, not much, but it goes into a bit of a point. Like over the years, I did this ice cream cone shape I've used a few times. And the last house we did something different, but we're like, let's just go a circle.
Circle, yeah.
And it's we put a bench around the whole thing, so you could put 40 people in that pool, eh?
Yeah. How many have you had in there?
Not that many.
Not that many.
We had a few on Christmas. But you can't, because of the round pool, you can't even tell that there's a bit of an odd shaped fence back there.
In the back corner there, yeah.
The circle just takes away from that completely.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, everyone's really highlighted that. The pool, everyone goes, that property, that's that pool. Everyone's seen it online.
We hope it wins multiple awards.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, for anyone that wants to build one, it wasn't, it's not as easy as a normal pool, but it wasn't unbelievably hard. It wasn't anything super special.
Yeah.
Still pretty, everything else is pretty standard, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we go upstairs, and you've got, obviously, the bedrooms you mentioned before, all being on the one level, but that master bedroom has the built-in frame in the room.
Yeah, the bed.
Which the bed head and the frame itself is built into the wall. Do you want to explain that a little bit to the listeners who people can't watch?
Yep. So we brought a lot of new furniture for the styling of this house, and I just couldn't find a bed that I really, really loved for our room. And I had seen some rendered built-in bed heads and stuff before, but I spoke to Ed and the guys that work with us at Beath Building and just said, like, how can I bring something like this to life? And so they had the idea of like just doing a plaster one. So they built all the framing for it. And, I had the option and I was like, I want it curved. I went in there, we measured the heights and everything, and they just helped me bring it to life. So it's literally just framed and then plastered into the wall.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just that easy.
So cool.
Just like that.
It's just something small like that. Again,
probably not as that easy.
Not at all.
Well, I know that's one of the reason I'm picking all these little things out, because this is what came up in my buyer's eyes as walking through the property. And again, the female client, she was just like, "That's incredible, love that." And
it's so good. I won't be able to find another bed like it.
No.
We'll do one, babe.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. So going on to that, we moved from this property to the next project. You guys have just purchased another home.
Yeah.
Yep. And what's on the radar for that one?
Curves.
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 So are we going away from this style? Are we going to go try something different, or?
I don't know if we'll ever completely move away from this style. Like we love the white, the crispness. We're in love with these black windows as well. Like we just feel like they bring like a really sophisticated, luxurious vibe to the house.
Our producer walking up said I love those windows.
Yeah.
Everyone says that.
They're so cool.
Yep.
So I think we won't step away from this completely, but we want to bring a lot more like curves and glass, like lots more glass.
Yep.
We've got a few ideas, but we only purchased it last week, so we haven't really got around to planning and stuff yet.
I have.
Oh yeah. So when's that one settle?
60. Well, we worked out
60
they
days.
settle at the time. About 60 days from contract, so about 45 days now.
Yep.
It's a low set, this one, so it's gonna be
Okay.
a lot easier to build.
Yep.
It's gonna be real cool.
Well, now picking that one, did you guys take anything from your learnings of the previous 16 into this one in terms of location, or you've just found that's probably the price point and it fits a few things here and there?
Yeah, but like we now that we're at a level we're at now, we do try and pick the suburbs that are going to return better return, obviously.
Yep.
And this one was in Broadbeach as well, slightly different pocket, Florida Gardens. In my opinion, really nice little pocket, family orientated, tucked away a little bit further, but at the same time super close to everything.
Yep.
And lots of dry blocks. We really like dry blocks. I'm not really into the waterfront, to be honest, but they seem to work.
Yep.
We've always stuck to the same 4 suburbs. So like we've always had Broadbeach Waters and Mermaid Waters and Mermaid Beach and Broadbeach. Like we've never swayed, even with living in rentals and stuff. We've always stayed in these 4 suburbs
For our personal stuff.
If it's not broke, why fix it? Like the
just
formula
love this
works.
area.
I
think everyone does. It's amazing here. We love it.
Yeah. So with Renovating Mates, why that name? I get the name, but it would have been created on Instagram. People can follow you on Instagram. Is the whole journey from now on all going to be showcased through there?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You probably talk about that, babe.
So I guess we've always had a lot of people taking a lot of interest in our personal renos, and we've only ever shown them through sharing through Eddie's business.
Yep.
So I guess we just wanted a space where we could talk just about the certain house that we were doing at the time, and that's where Renovating Mates come into play. Of course, there's a brand behind it. There could be many ideas that could come and, ways that we can help people with renovating. But at the moment, we're just going to use it as like a platform to share with people and share ideas and also like help other businesses and stuff like that. So that's for now. But we just like having a space online where it's just about this reno rather than all of the work, because Eddie does so much work for different clients. Yep. So it's nice just being able to share this house and focus on it, because there's so many parts. This was such a big reno, such a big project, and there's so many parts of it to share. We couldn't possibly share it all through business.
There's so much more work in filming something than I'd ever imagine. Yeah. This is working fine, but if me and Perry film something, arguing.
Look,
You'd rather renovate a house and take a few videos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than I thought, eh? Like this is fine because you're asking us questions, but when the two of us are together, we both get frustrated at each other.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've seen it work, good and bad examples sometimes.
Yeah.
So in terms of like, the future, you guys, at some point you will stop renovating, or maybe not.
I think so.
I don't think
No,
so.
maybe
I've
not.
been telling Perry that for years.
Yeah. But do you have your mind set on a suburb that you'd love to spend most of your adult life together?
Probably Mermaid Beach, I'd
Yeah,
say.
Mermaid Beach.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any reason for
The other side of the highway.
on the highway? Yeah, okay,
We're in
closer.
the western suburbs at the moment.
Yeah.
On the eastern
We
suburbs.
love the
Sure.
accessibility that you have been over in the waters area, like
Yep.
Broad Beach waters, like just how much accessible, like, you know, the supermarket and work and stuff is for people. But we just love like the social side of, you know, being close to the beach
Yep.
and cafes and restaurants. I've been over there. So we think ideally we'd like to end up in Mermaid Beach.
Yep.
But if the right property came up back here,
Yeah.
like,
And I know you've got your puppies. We've got Bear and what's the other one?
Teddy.
Teddy, Bear and Teddy.
Yep.
What about in the future? Children? You don't have children
No.
yet? No.
Yeah, one day.
One day? Yeah, one day. So you're going to have to have
We've been saying one day for like 5 years now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
still it's not on the radar.
just gets too busy with renovations, I'm sure.
We got 2 cats as well. That's enough.
Oh, that's all right. You got the cats laying around here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but definitely, like, we'll definitely have kids one day, but it's not on the radar anytime soon.
Yeah, okay. You got to find that perfect home
Yeah.
to settle in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, like, honestly, we probably move like every 12 to 6 months sometimes, and so I just can't imagine how challenging that would be with kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
So we're just like taking, like, we love doing this, we love creating these spaces, so we're just appreciating that and just writing it out, aren't we?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
So there was so many years where Perry would be like, I'm sick of moving, I'm so over this, and now that's why you don't care anymore. Right?
Yeah, like, ready for the next one.
You kind of get used to that
Yeah.
a little bit.
We're looking
You're
for a
doing-
rental at the moment, though, and that's not as
Yeah.
that's not as easy as like creating your own space.
We'll
So-
have to hire you as a rental agent.
Hey, I'm happy to put my hand up. We'll figure something out, I'm sure. So this next project, you got a time frame on it? Like how long from start to end, or what's that perfect kind of?
As quick as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I want to be in turnkey from contract signing in 6 months, but we'll do it quicker than that. But
Yep.
that's kind of worst case scenario.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be another massive project.
Yeah. So just on that, a lot of the questions we get asked around new builds and renovating is supply chain with the current world that we're in. How have you found that? Is it impacting?
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
It's a
Yeah.
fucking nightmare. It's a
Yeah.
nightmare.
No, it's okay. It's probably where it's at.
It's really, really difficult, but I think you just have an open mind. You just have to be like, okay, I can't get this, I'm going to have to use something different now. You can't just have that's what I want, that's what I'm having. You got to have an open mind.
To be flexible.
Yeah.
There's so much different stuff we've had to use here, more that you can't see, stuff in the wall, that's the hardest stuff to get, like your actual wall framing and beams
Yep.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Where we can't get certain structural elements, we're using a lot more steel, or if I can't get certain timber elements, we're using something that's equivalent in a different shape or size.
Yep.
Even to the point, like, there was one part we had to, like, rip all a heap of, like, treated pine, like, bearers and joists down just to make framing, and just,
Yeah, wow.
yeah,
There
that
you
was
go.
that bad.
Jeez.
Even, like, stuff like denailing old stuff off other jobs to keep it moving. You got to be ready to.
It got to that point.
Oh yeah,
The supply.
It
Yeah.
happened like from that, but it happened all the way to the end with like things like tiles and
Same
like,
thing.
they've
Yeah.
been like, oh, actually, we can't get that for like 6 months. Like, oh,
We don't have 6 months.
furniture. We've still got pieces of furniture that haven't arrived yet.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like calling the companies, being like, our address is going to change.
Yeah. Wow.
it's
Yeah.
a lot worse
Yeah.
than what you might think. And when it's your own project, it's different because you can write it out. But
Yep.
for a client right now, the price rises, they're weekly. It's that bad.
Yep. Yeah. Well, what you guys have done here, I think, is amazing. This property is beautiful. My time in buying property up here, it's my favourite.
Really? Thank you.
It really is. I'm not just saying that because you're on here. I mentioned that on my Instagram the other day, and I know that the love for this property has been through the roof. So congratulations to you both,
Thank you so much.
and all the very best for the next adventure. And who knows, maybe I'll pop down there and come do an interview with that one. I might find you a new buyer for that one.
First to know, Trev's got a crush on you.
Yeah, does he? Oh, good. Yeah. I like he's a good operator, Trevor. Have you worked with him quite a bit, have you? Or
Yep. From day one.
he's your man.
Yeah.
Yep, he's the man.
Yeah, great. I'll be buying him a few coffees in along the way,
Definitely.
and doing some deals with him.
He's a straight shooter. He's just a good guy.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's a tough industry at the moment. Some people say it's tough. It's not, but it is. Property and that buying the last 12 months has been a challenge for many. And you guys have done buying, selling the last 16 projects. So you've nailed it perfectly.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for jumping on. I really appreciate it. Good stuff. Cheers.